It seems 2026 is the year of, oh, you think your favor's safe? Because I wouldn't. Donnie McClurkin, we fall down, but we get up. After you've done all you can, you just stand. Donnie McClurkin, that one. He has been accused of essaying a young man.
There wouldn't be a Jackie Hill Perry without a Donnie McClurkin. There wouldn't be a Raven Hartwell without a Donnie McClurkin. Raven Hartwell, who'll be playing on y'all Wi-Fi, playing on y'all internet as if her coochie don't spasm every time a bad bitch with a middle part bust down in Lululemon walk by. And that is why I'm finding it really hard to offer a measured perspective around this whole Donnie McClurkin situation, because he gave legitimacy to an ideology or rhetoric that is still harming young gay Black men, young queer folk across the country still to this day.
So what's really going on here? This is where the title Donnie McClurkin Exposed, He Hid His Secret Lovers in the Church comes into focus, because people are side-eyeing everything right now. For years, Donnie McClurkin publicly built his ministry around saying he was delivered from homosexuality and helping other adult men find the same path. But now, that image is under serious pressure. A lawsuit has popped up, and it references grown men who claim they were allegedly drawn in, influenced, and pushed to stay silent while faith was used as the cover. If these allegations hold weight, folks are saying the public message and the private actions didn't match at all. I'm not declaring facts or taking sides. I'm just reporting what's buzzing in the streets, because this situation has people shocked, confused, and asking real questions about trust and power in the church.
I think this is going to be called, on my second revelation of my vacation, this is called the hurt I've caused. The hurt I've caused.
Out of all the gospel figures people followed closely, Donnie McClurkin stood out as someone who seemed to truly live the lifestyle he preached. His powerful voice, relatable sermons, and openness with his struggles with homosexuality made many believe he was being real and transparent. He spoke often about relying on faith and God's word, and that honesty helped him build a strong following and eventually his own church, centered on saving sinners and changing lives. But now, a lawsuit has flipped that image upside down. According to the claims, an adult man says he went to Donnie McClurkin's church seeking spiritual guidance, only to allegedly be pulled into confusing situations framed as tests from God. The lawsuit alleges boundaries were crossed over time, with faith and authority used to blur lines and keep silence. These are allegations, not proven facts, but in the court of public opinion, many are questioning whether the honesty people admired was actually a cover hiding deeper struggles all along.
You hire somebody and they're working directly for you, you are their boss, and you enter into any type of relationship with them that is not business in nature, you open yourself up for a lawsuit. They can sue you. They can say you took advantage of them. They can say, I only did it because this is my boss and I was scared. So it doesn't really matter whether or not y'all think it's consensual, that man is going to get paid.
According to Cordo, whenever he felt overwhelming conviction that led him to tears, especially in public settings, Donnie McClurkin would flip those moments into lessons, telling the church that showing emotion was healthy and spiritual. But behind the scenes, the lawsuit claims a much different story. Cordo alleges that during church-related business trips, he was placed in situations where he and Donnie had to share a single room, and what allegedly happened there was far from holy. When people ask why he didn't just walk away, Cordo says he tried more than once, but every time he attempted to leave, Donnie allegedly shut it down, telling him he would never be delivered or find purpose without staying under his guidance. Donnie allegedly compared their relationship to Elijah and Elisha, implying Cordo needed him for direction and calling. If true, that kind of pressure crosses serious lines and twists faith into control. Eventually, Cordo says he reached his breaking point, found another job, and left, though trauma bonding made it hard to fully cut contact. By 2013, Cordo says he rejected everything Donnie preached about deliverance and refused any further advances. Later that year, Donnie allegedly sent an email apologizing, writing, "I'm the actual epitome of a desperate, dirty old man, pawning and groping a young man who was just looking for friendship and close platonic relationship with someone he looks up to for help, guidance, and spirituality. I have forced myself on you. I'm really embarrassed at how I am and how I act." These are allegations, not rulings, but the details have left many people shaken and questioning how power and faith were handled behind closed doors.
God don't do nothing else in 2026. I want him to free his people from the shackles of committing crimes and then sending emails.
Now that the lawsuit details and the alleged email are circulating, people are split right down the middle on what to believe about Pastor Donnie McClurkin. Some feel the claims line up too closely to ignore, especially with the level of detail being discussed, while others believe the story is exaggerated or flat out untrue. Social media, church circles, and gospel spaces are buzzing with debate, and everyone seems to have an opinion. For many supporters, Donnie's long career, public faith, and influence make the accusations hard to accept, and they see him as a target rather than a culprit. At the same time, others are saying the patterns described raise serious concerns about power, influence, and blurred boundaries within spiritual leadership. The alleged email has only added fuel to the conversation, with people questioning what it really means and how it should be interpreted. Was it an admission, an emotional apology taken out of context, or something else entirely? That's what people are wrestling with right now. Through all of this, Donnie McClurkin has firmly denied the allegations and continues to state that none of the claims are true. He maintains that he has done nothing wrong and that the accusations misrepresent who he is and what he stands for. Until facts are fully examined and decisions are made, the public is left stuck between belief, doubt, loyalty, and skepticism. One thing is clear though. This situation has sparked a serious conversation about trust, accountability, and leadership in faith spaces, and people are watching closely to see what happens next.
For truth, which you have not heard. You have not heard the truth, but you will. But I just didn't want to go any longer without addressing it. I've remained silent while this campaign, this media campaign was launched. I've remained silent because the Bible tells you to be slow to speak. Slow to speak, quick to hear, and slow to anger.
What has people talking even more is that Donnie McClurkin didn't completely shut down the idea that something inappropriate may have happened. He only stated that nothing was forced, and that detail alone has opened the door to heavy speculation. For many observers, that leaves room to wonder whether there was a consensual situation that still crossed serious ethical and spiritual boundaries, especially given the power imbalance involved. Others say they aren't shocked at all, claiming the signs were always there and that this moment feels like a long time coming. It's an unfortunate and deeply troubling situation, especially if the allegations stem from someone who was genuinely seeking guidance, healing, and deliverance through faith. If these claims hold any truth, critics argue that the behavior directly contradicts the message Donnie preached for years. Some are even saying this situation exposes the reality that he may not have been as spiritually free as he claimed, which raises hard questions about the kinds of ministry he was leading. Faith-based leadership carries enormous responsibility, and when personal struggles allegedly spill into private interactions, it can shatter trust fast. While supporters continue to stand by him and Donnie maintains his position, others feel this moment forces an uncomfortable conversation about accountability, transparency, and whether someone struggling behind closed doors should be guiding others through the same battle. One way or another, this situation has people rethinking everything they thought they knew.
Look, Stink, the email said I did it. I know I did it. I knew what I was doing was wrong when I was doing it. I shouldn't have did it. I thought about doing it. Then I did it again, did it in another state. You tried to get away, and I did it some more. Then you ran one more time, and then I did it again. I told you Do we need a court case? It's saying right there. He did it.
As the conversation keeps growing online, even more claims are beginning to surface. And that's when the situation shifts from shocking to deeply disturbing. Reports are spreading that several other adult men are now coming forward, each alleging they were touched or placed in uncomfortable situations under what was framed as a spiritual test tied to praying away homosexuality. According to what's being discussed publicly, these moments were allegedly presented as part of deliverance, blurring the line between faith, authority, and personal boundaries in a way that has left many people stunned. On top of that, it's being reported that more lawsuits could soon be filed, which would expand this case far beyond one individual and shine a brighter light on what some are now calling a deeply flawed ministry model. For some observers, none of this feels unexpected at all. There are people saying they've heard whispers about Donnie McClurkin for years, stories that never fully reached the mainstream but circulated quietly in certain circles. One account being shared online describes a former limousine driver who allegedly interacted with Donnie years ago and claimed the behavior he witnessed was highly inappropriate. Situations like that may not be visible to the public, especially to church members who only see the polished version on stage, but they add to the growing sense that something may have been off behind closed doors. When stories like these start stacking up, people naturally begin to question whether rumors dismissed in the past were actually warning signs. What makes this even heavier is the repeated claim that the pray the gay away narrative was allegedly used as a tool to manipulate emotionally vulnerable adults. Critics argue that when someone comes to a spiritual leader seeking guidance, healing, or clarity, especially around deeply personal struggles, that trust should never be exploited. If these allegations are true, then the harm goes far beyond inappropriate behavior. It cuts into the psychological and spiritual damage caused by mixing authority, fear, and false hope. Many are pointing out that impressionable adults who are already conflicted about their identity may be especially vulnerable to this kind of influence, making the alleged actions even more troubling. At the same time, supporters of Donnie McClurkin insist that internet talk doesn't equal truth, and that allegations should not be treated as facts. They argue that fame often attracts false claims, and that long-standing public figures are easy targets when public opinion turns. Others counter by saying that the sheer number of similar stories being discussed makes it harder to dismiss everything outright. This divide has turned online spaces into battlegrounds, with some defending Donnie's legacy and others demanding accountability and transparency. It's no longer just about one lawsuit. It's about whether a pattern existed and whether it was ignored for too long. There's also a broader conversation unfolding about the harm of ministries built around suppressing sexuality rather than addressing mental health, personal agency, and genuine spiritual growth. Critics say that the pressure to be delivered can create environments where shame is normalized and boundaries become dangerously flexible. When leadership frames emotional distress as spiritual failure, it opens a door for manipulation, even if that wasn't the original intent. That's why this situation is resonating far beyond one name. People are questioning the structure, not just the individual. Disappointment is a word that keeps coming up again and again. Even among those who never fully trusted Donnie McClurkin, there's a sense of sadness over the damage these allegations represent. Faith communities rely heavily on trust, and when leaders are accused of abusing that trust, it doesn't just affect those directly involved, it ripples outward. Congregations fracture, believers grow cynical, and people who once sought spiritual help may never return. That kind of fallout lasts far longer than any court case. Right now, everything remains in the realm of allegations and public debate, but the momentum is undeniable. If more lawsuits are filed, the narrative will likely shift again, and the scrutiny will only intensify. Whether these claims are proven or disputed, the conversation has already exposed deep discomfort around power, influence, and accountability in religious leadership. People are no longer whispering, they're openly questioning how situations like this are allowed to develop unchecked. At the end of the day, this isn't just about one man. It's about systems that may protect leaders while leaving others vulnerable. As more voices speak up and more details come out, many are watching closely, not out of gossip, because the implications reach far beyond one ministry. This story continues to evolve, and regardless of where the truth ultimately lands, it has already forced an uncomfortable but necessary conversation that isn't going away anytime soon.